once we get that right, which is for me the most important thing, that they have, first of all, respect. The second one is commitment. The third one, passion. Those three ingredients are non-negotiable.
Hello and welcome into the Non-Negotiables podcast. I'm Gavin and I'm here tonight as usual with Justin. How you doing, Juz?
I'm good, Gav. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Just getting over Sunday, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a sickener, wasn't it? It felt like an absolute punch to the gut.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. One of the toughest recent game I can remember. I think it really deflated the fan base, and I don't know. I mean there's so much in it, right? Emery, and it's at home, and 6 games left, and City won, and just a lot to it, and it was traumatizing, really.
Yeah, I mean you're kind of looking at them home games as, everyone's looking at Spurs and United away, right? Like we're all looking at them games and going, that's the, if we can win there, if we can win there. You look at these home games and you have to win them. You just have to win them games. And I think that's what it was like. It came out of the blue. And that second half performance came out of the blue. We were so good first half. And I mean, it wasn't the greatest performance ever, but we were good in that first half. And the second half was as bad as we've played. We couldn't even get the ball. Like they dominated that second half.
Yeah, they really did. And it was really unusual, being in like this good of run of form, and then watching us in the second half barely linking, three passes. I mean, it just all around really, really disappointing and absolutely gutting, really.
Yeah, it really was disappointing. I mean, I think, the big moment really for us, I think, was the Trossard miss, right?
Yeah.
When the Martinez save. And I think that was a miss more than it was a save, right? It was Martinez did
hit right at him.
But anywhere else and that's in. And I think had we have gone one up then, I think we go on and win that game comfortably if we go one up then.
Same. Yep, I do too. Yeah, pretty much cruising, I think, at that point. Some of the chances were so good. I think we probably go on to bury him. I'd say probably 3 or so.
Yeah, and the Jesus header, that he headed wide. I mean, it wasn't that we were making clear-cut chance after clear-cut chance, but we were creating a lot. I mean, in the first half, and this will come on to this, but in the first half, I thought Zinchenko had one of the best games I've ever seen him have. He played Kai through 3 times, and twice he just wasn't quick enough, and once his control let him down. And that was kind of the story of the day. That first half, that ball from Zinchenko to Havertz was on the entire first half.
Yeah, I mean, that's I would say that's probably one of the more controversial topics of the game. Not saying you're wrong, by the way. But the fan base seems to be very up in arms about Zinchenko and his performance. I agree. I thought he was pretty solid first half, especially offensively. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts about that? I mean, I'm hearing, I mean, he's done, basically with the fan base as of now. And I know you're a big fan. What do you think?
I think he's done.
You do?
Yeah, I think he's done. And I mean, there's any way back from this. I think half of the fan base are actively rooting for him to make a mistake. Yeah. And I don't think you can come back from that. And I think that Sunday was the first time I really heard it in the stadium. Do you know what I mean? Like when you see it on Twitter and on Instagram and shit, you can brush past it, right? It doesn't matter. You can just brush past that. When it's in the stadium, that's something different. And and it's people looking for excuses. Like neither of those goals were anything to do with Zinchenko, but people are trying to lay blame. The first one, I've even seen a clip of Zinchenko. What's he doing over that side? Dude, it came from a corner. He was defending that side of the box. That's why he's over that side. That's his job from the corner. But people don't want to hear that. They just want this excuse. And, Zinchenko was poor in the second half, but everyone was poor. I mean, that Zaniolo can't get a game for Villa. He cannot get a game. And he roasted Ben White that entire second half.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Gabriel, how poor was Gabriel?
Gabriel
That's
was
the worst Gabriel was played in 2 years.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. And yeah, I mean, the only thing that really sticks out with me with Zinchenko, I think, like the most egregious thing I would say is that I can't even remember the minute, which I know is unprofessional, but there was a point, and maybe you can help me, but the other three, White, Gabriel, Saliba, were all pulled up just, I don't know, maybe 5 yards past halfway, and Zinchenko was way deep in the half,
Yes.
messing up the trap. That was pretty much the only thing I saw that was extra egregious.
But there was a bad piece of control when they cleared from a corner that could have got us in trouble, and Kai got back in and cleared it away, and that could have got us in trouble. And then there was the one when I don't quite know what he was trying to do when the corner was being cleared. I don't know if he was trying to nutmeg Tielemans. I don't know if he was trying to dummy the ball past him. I couldn't figure out what he was trying to do, but whatever it is, it didn't come off. And Tielemans hit that shot that came off the post and bar.
Yeah.
Like I said, Zinchenko did not have a good half. There's no doubt about it. But there are people waiting with glee to pounce on every mistake. And I think at this point, it is done. And for Zinchenko's own sake, I hope he doesn't play on Wednesday night. I hope he doesn't play again this season. And I hope he goes in the summer and finds somewhere where he can be appreciated, because I think with him and this fan base, it is done.
Now, let me ask you this. I mean, I think I know where you're going with this. What do you think about... I agree, by the way. I think his career at like left back is done with Arsenal, but do you think he could be an option in midfield? Because I'm hearing that floated. I've got
no, I don't. I don't. I think the feeling around him, I don't think it's anything to do with his play. I really don't. I just think the feeling around him at this point, I don't know if it's all football related. I don't know if some of it is Ukraine related, but I think the feeling around him at this point is that it's done. Yeah. And I don't think it matters where he plays. I just think that Zinchenko is now just a lightning rod. And I just don't think that's going to change. You know, the only way that changes is if Kai Havertz has more games like he did on Sunday. That's it, basically, because Zinchenko is now the lightning rod for the team, and I don't see any way back.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have to agree, mate. And you hit it. It was more the stadium reaction. You know, again, I agree that the online stuff doesn't really matter. But yeah, it does seem like the fan base as kind of a whole has turned the tide on him.
Yeah, well, where the online stuff matters is that it drives the discourse, right? It drives the narrative. Mm-hmm. And I think the online stuff, although, yes, it doesn't matter what some 14-year-old in their basement is saying on Twitter, but it does push the agenda. And I think that's what we've seen with Zinchenko. And I just think it's now gone too far to wrestle it back. And like I said, I hope for his sake. And bear in mind, he's the only left back at the club. Like, whatever you think of Tomiyasu, he's not a left back. Whatever you think of Jurrien Timber, he's not a left back. Jurrien Timber has played 4% of all his football in his career at left back. He's not a left back. So I think he's the only left back at the club, and I hope I don't see him again this season. And I love Zinchenko, so it saddens me to say it, but for his own good, I think this needs to be it.
Well, you're forgetting a key viewer.
Yeah, so there's no left backs at the club other than Zinchenko. But yeah, no. In all seriousness, though, I hope Tomiyasu starts at Bayern in Wednesday, because the thing is now, like I said, there's half the fan base sitting there hoping he makes a mistake, and it's not a healthy place to be.
It's very like Xhaka. It kind of reminds me a bit of
it does, but I don't think there's any saving Zinchenko from this. I just don't. Mind you, I didn't think that about Xhaka either, so maybe I'm wrong. But I just think 2 years to go on that contract. There's been no talks. There's been no rumours of talks. I know Bayern Munich were interested. I think it's time. Just move him on. And we're going to have to get left back in the summer. We have to get a left back. Right, this is the point where I hold my hands up and say I was wrong. So I've been banging the drum for 2 weeks that I want to see Jesus come back in up front and move Kai into midfield.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah. Sorry, Gab.
In the first half, there was a lot of promising signs, and Kai was having his way. He just couldn't basically make the telling impact, but he was having plenty of chances.
Yeah.
Jesus, I thought, was poor. He doesn't look fit to me. He doesn't look remotely fit. I don't know if we can start him tomorrow night. I thought all along that the team tomorrow night would be the team that played against Brighton. And now I'm thinking it won't be, because I don't think Zinchenko is going to play now. I think he will start Tomiyasu. Kai is going to play up top for sure. But I'm starting to think that Martinelli will probably play left wing, because I don't know that Jesus, from what we saw on Sunday, I don't know Jesus can handle starting against Bayern.
Yeah, I saw a stat today, and I wish I had it in front of me because I don't exactly. But he's got like the worst conversion rate of forwards in the top 5 leagues. Yeah, it was really bad percentage. And we all knew that. Everybody knew he wasn't the best finisher. But it was all the other stuff. He works so hard. He presses. He's got a lot of technical ability. He can drop in. He can make passes. Right.
Yeah.
But I think with this, this knock or injury or whatever, the knee issue that he's
the explosiveness has gone. I think gone. More than anything else. I think the explosiveness has gone. And it's a problem. He's still got them quick feet. He can still do things like he did against Bayern. But I think the explosiveness has gone. That getting around the defenders has gone. He's going to wait till the summer to get this operation, obviously. But I don't know how much use he's actually going to be between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, mate. I'm with you there. And it's just a shame. But one thing I find really interesting, and I think it's a good time to bring this up, is that, when we signed Zinchenko and Jesus, it was kind of a real moment, to really.
It was a level raiser, wasn't it? It was a level raiser.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's like it's not even been very long, and it's like we've grown past both of them.
Yeah, I agree. I think we have.
And it's just, I find it really interesting. It's like, so sure, they were bought to be a level raiser, but now they're almost holding the ceiling down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you completely. And I think they're two people that we're going to be looking to replace. I'm not sure we're going to be looking to sell Jesus, although I think if an offer come in, I wouldn't be against it. Just because, again, these injury problems, So I think that I would consider an offer if it was me. I don't know whether Arteta will or not, but we need someone in that position. We do.
Yep. I think Jesus will stick around only because the striker market, it is what it is. It's ugly. It's really ugly.
Well, yeah, and this is the intriguing bit, right? Like the problems we've got with Jesus are similar problems that we've got with Kai Havertz, right? In that he does some of the stuff, but he don't do all of the stuff. I'm sure everybody wishes Kai Havertz was a better footballer than he was, because he's not a very good footballer. He's an incredibly intelligent player, but put the ball at his feet, and let's be fair, it doesn't look great. If you could add Jesus' ball playing ability in there, you'd have a player. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. So I think we've got two players that do half the job, which I guess you could also say is kind of true at left back as well, right? We've got Zinchenko and Tomiyasu who do half a job each. So I think that's something we've got to look at. But the striker market, Juz, I mean, do you agree with me that the man, if you could just go and pick who you wanted, and I don't mean Holland, but like of possibilities, Isak would be the man?
I don't personally.
You don't? Who do you think would be the man?
Oh, well, I'm not saying I could give you a name.
Okay, well, is there, because it seems more and more like the answer is going to be someone like Sesko or Jimenez from Feyenoord. It seems like the answer is going to be more someone like that to come into a more rotation based thing rather than the man. Personally, I think if you could get Isak, I think that's the move, and I would pay whatever it took to get him. But I don't think it's going to happen.
What I mean, we're talking about Jesus and Zinchenko right now, but I mean, so regardless of injuries, Isak would be.
Yeah, I think I would take the chance and see what happened. I think I would take a chance to see what, because there's no one else out there. There's no one else out there. You know, you're looking at these players. You've got Gyökeres, who a season ago was in the Championship. Like, you really want to spend 80 million on that? Osimhen has the injury history as well. Plus, I'm just not sure he's a good enough footballer. He's a great striker, but I don't know he's a good enough footballer. I think Isak is the one that basically has everything. That injury record is a worry, but everyone at Newcastle is permanently injured. And I think I would take the risk. It's a problem. We've got 5 injury-prone players in the squad. We say this all the time. I fully expect at least 2 of them to be moved on this summer. Yeah. But you really don't want to do that if you've got a choice. But I just don't see what other choices out there at the minute. Like I said, the only other choice is the Sesko Jimenez kind of route, where you're buying a project. You hope you can get them in for 40 million and buy a project.
Yeah. Yeah, I think just real quick, I think to be fair to Osimhen, I believe a large part of his injury out recently, or not recently, but last season was a broken cheekbone.
Well, it was an orbital fracture, I think. Wasn't
orbital
it?
fracture.
That was a lot of it. But he does have. If you go on and look at the injury history, he has a lot of muscle strains.
Yeah,
muscle strains. And when you're buying players from, I mean, look, we've seen it with people like Thomas Partey, right? When you're buying players from other leagues, I think sometimes when they move to the Premier League, the stress on the body is a little bit more than they're used to, and it can exacerbate it. And I think that would be a worry with Osimhen. Now, like you said, Isak's missed a lot of football. That is still there with him. But I think that would be a chance that I'd be willing to take. But it's not something that I see happening, because I don't think Newcastle are going to sell him. I think if one of them players leaves Newcastle, I think it will be Bruno Guimaraes, and I think it will probably be to Paris Saint-Germain.
I'd take that player, to be fair. Maybe not what Newcastle would ask, but
Bruno or Isak?
Yeah, Bruno. Yep.
Bruno? No,
yeah, I think
I've got no interest in trying to cheer for Bruno.
yeah, I feel you. But yeah, I think striker is going to be really, really difficult. I don't really love any name that we've been linked to. Like, they all seem to kind of have a hole, in their game somewhere. But I think, we're not the only club dealing with that. No. You can look around. I mean, Chelsea continues to start Nico Jackson despite spending $1 billion the past, couple seasons.
Yeah, and watching him fight his own players trying to take penalties.
Yeah. But I just think it's a really tough market, and I think I mean, we could do worse than Havertz.
Yeah, and I think it's going to end up being Havertz and then someone else rotating in for certain games. I do quite like the look of Sesko, but he's definitely a project. So we'll see who they find. They'll find someone from somewhere. I mean, it is what it is. We need a striker. We need a left back. I think we need a winger. And I still think that mythical number 8, right? Like, we still need that player.
Yep. Which it's a real shame, because, just a couple weeks ago, I would have said, man, we're just 1 or 2 players away. But it's crazy.
I think we are. I think we are still 1 or 2 players away. I think you haven't got to be perfect, right? Like no one's saying we've got to be perfect. But there's a couple of so let's do this, Juz. A lot of people are saying that it's ridiculous that to win the Premier League, because of what Man City have done, you've got to get X amount of points, right?
Right.
But we've already lost 5 games this season, right? If we lose another one, that's, I think, the most any team would win a league with in certainly the last 10 years, 6. You generally lose 3 or 4 to win a league. We've lost 5 already. That's too many games. I don't care what Man City are doing. We have lost too many games this season.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. I think like what I've been seeing a lot of online discourse since post game, and I do think that what City has done has at least ruined the perception of what's acceptable Because any team can lose at any point. I mean, we saw it with just Liverpool. They lost to Palace. I do think that when you look at our 2024 so far, it's the first game. What is it? It's 10-1-1, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, that's insane.
But we lost 4 games before New Year's Day.
Yeah,
but that's the problem right there. We lost too many games in the first. We sat on here after the Fulham game, and I said that I thought we were done at that point after we lost to Fulham. And the reason I thought we were done wasn't because I thought that everyone else would be perfect. It's because I didn't see us going through the whole second half of the season without losing a game. That's all it was. I didn't see it. And once you lose 5 games, which is where we're at now, you are, if not eliminated, on the brink. And that's never been any different. Even when it was us and United going for the title, 6 games, that's your lot. You lose 6 games and you're probably toast.
I think, my only kind of, I don't even know if this is necessarily a rebuttal, but I think, like November-ish, nobody really thought, we were going to go for it this year. I don't think, all the way, like winning a title, around that time. And it's this run since, January that's made us title contenders. So I think for this to be the first time we slip up, it's a little more.
I think it hurts because of the run. Because of the run we've been on, and it felt like we were just going to roll on.
It did, yeah.
And it's been interrupted now, and it comes off the back of a disappointing performance, really, against Bay-ern. And in the last few years, we have a tendency, when we play badly, to do it for multiple games, right? West Ham Fulham was obviously at the turn of the year. But the year before, it was those 3 games. Everton, what were the 3 games? Everton, Brentford, and what was the other one that we lost? Was it before coming into the City game? I can't remember what game it was now.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
But these tend to come in clusters. No, Southampton was Liverpool, Southampton, West Ham. That was the other cluster in March.
Yeah,
but there was a cluster before when we lost to Sean Dyche's Everton. We drew with Brentford, and we lost another game in there, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was.
Yeah, you're right, though. It's clusters every time.
It's the clusters, and this is now the 3rd year in a row that we are going to have faltered at the end. This year's a little bit different because, like I said, I think the faltering actually came before New Year, not after. As much as this defeat feels like the hammer blow, the problem is that we were already on 4 defeats.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Like I said, I would say the only thing that kind of gives me comfort, if for lack of a better word, is that I didn't even think we were going to be title contenders, just 5 months ago. But it was this run, and as disappointing as this loss was, and it hurts. But we kind of clawed ourselves back into contention, and we'd still be there if we hadn't lost. But yeah, I agree. It was before New Year. That's the issue here.
Yeah, and I honestly, I'm quite confident that we're going to run very, very close next year. Very, very close. I'm confident in this team that they're going to do that. I just think we had a bad start this year, and we couldn't get, we just couldn't get over it. Basically, we needed to be too perfect in 2024 to make up for what we did in 2023. And I just don't think it was possible, basically.
I mean, I still think we're going to run close this year, but we all know City can win out.
I can't. I mean, look, and looking at tomorrow night, if we lose tomorrow night, I think we'll lose at Wolves. I think if we lose tomorrow night, I think we'll just be deflated then, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that point, that'll be, basically nothing to play for. I mean, it'll, I know we're still in it, but you know what I mean? Like from a mentality standpoint, it'll be.
Yeah. And it'll be such a shame that, the last thing that everyone's going to remember is that limp second half performance, because it was so bad that second half. And I've heard a lot of people say, oh, it was an Emery masterclass. I don't think Emery even did anything. We just seem to surrender possession and accept it and drop back. And I don't know. Subs were poor. He waited too long to make them. Then he made the wrong subs, and it was just one of them games, I think, where nothing went right from half time onwards, and it just seemed like the tide was against us, and we just couldn't stem it.
Yeah, a lot of uncharacteristically bad performances too. You brought up Gabriel already, but yeah, that was a really. I mean, I would say the only player that really was outstanding was Odegaard.
Yeah.
Not that like I mean,
and we're in another situation again where we've had 2 shots on target and 2 goals. You know, I get what Raya gives us with his feet, and we both said, you know, the battle between him and Ramsdale is over. We understand what he gives us, but I would like one that could play in goal as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, to be fair, I know they're technically not shots on target, but like you had that the Tielemans that hit crossbar and post. I think Ollie Watkins hit the post too. I mean, technically
both of which he got nowhere near. So if they had have been a little bit more on target, it would have been 4-0 with 4 shots on target.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know. I still like goalkeepers that can make the odd save. But it doesn't matter because this is Mikel's man and he's going to be here for a while. And, you know, at the end of the day, we've got so much that needs to be done in this team. I don't think the goalkeeper is the priority now.
Yeah, I was just about to say that as well. There's just too many other things we have to deal with. Yes. And then having spent, you know, almost 30 million on 2 goalkeepers in 3 seasons, I believe. 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, it's going to be it's 30 on Raya, right? 3 plus 27, and then 25 on Ramsdale or 28 on Ramsdale.
Yeah.
And then you can throw Runarsson in there as well. So yeah, it's too much. So
too much.
Anyway, all right, mate. Listen, we're going to do a quick one tonight, so we're going to wrap it up here. Because we got stuff to do, and let's be fair, neither of us really wanted to do this one.
No, we didn't. Yeah,
but we will be back with a full pod on Thursday after the Bayern game. So, mate, enjoy it to the best you can. I'm actually quite excited to get Wednesday going. Do you know what I mean? Like I am looking forward to this game.
Same.
And hopefully we can get the win.
Yep. The injuries to Bayern are a little interesting. I don't, necessarily want to say it's gonna, win us anything, but we have Coleman and Gnabry out confirmed. I think, can help. I mean, that's a lot of pace and technical ability. We have Alphonso Davies is out suspended, right? So
Sane apparently is carrying a knock, but he's going to play, and so is Neuer. So we'll see. I mean, maybe he won't be quite as effective as he was in the first leg. We'll have to wait and see. I guess Thomas Muller will probably come in will probably come in out wide for not Coman.
Gnabry.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking as well. Or maybe Musiala goes out and Muller comes into like the 10 or whatever, but it'll be something like that. Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm excited. We're still in the Champions League quarterfinals. It's even game right now, so anything can happen, and it would be great to put this Villa loss behind us with a win in Munich. So here's hoping, right?
Yeah, for sure. And in the other side of the draw, Barcelona capitulated against PSV, which was quite hilarious. Araujo got himself sent off after 25 minutes. It was a sending off. I mean, I've seen people say it's not. It was a sending off. He's put his hand on his shoulder, tugged him back, and even though the trip was incidental, he still tripped him. So it was definitely a sending off. And PSG run right. They gave away chances, PSG, but it was comfortable for them. And an amazing game in Dortmund, where Dortmund come back and knocked out Atletico Madrid. So the away side's winning tonight. Let's hope that's a good omen for tomorrow, right? I'll take all the away sides winning tomorrow as well.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. And, I'll have one eye on that Madrid City game as well. Like I'm sure like most fans will, but that'll be a big one to see. But, man, the quarterfinals have been pretty insane. Lots of goals, lots of
awesome
drama.
Yeah, it's been awesome. These quarterfinals have been fantastic. And look, end of the day, Juz, this is what we're here for, right? I've had a few people text me, I'm dreading tomorrow night. Why are you dreading it? Yep. Why are you dreading it? Like, be excited for this, as Josh would say. Be excited, because this is why we're here. If we go out, we'll be back here next year. But I think we've got a good chance of going through. So you should be looking forward to tomorrow night. I can't wait.
Yeah, mate, it's what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. All right, mate. Well, let's sign off there. And like I said, we'll be back on Thursday after the Bayern game. Hopefully toasting a victory and looking forward to a semi-final. If not, whatever, we'll be back either way. So, Juz,
Sure.
thanks for joining, and good night.
Good night, Gav.